Happy Podcast Day, folks. I'm back. Dennis here, and it's good to have you back, SK.
You're back. You've been here.
Yeah, I mean, but
been shooting without me. It's all good. Busy lives.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Yeah, and then how have you been since you've been MIA from the podcast?
So, I think everybody should know why. Like, I don't just like to skip these. You know what I mean? I get disinvited, is what happens.
You don't get this. Okay, let's not get into all of that.
Hey, man, the kids are in track. We've got soccer. We've got tennis,
cross country.
Yep, cross country is. I mean, technically that's not in season, but you've got club and high school soccer going on right now. You've got, we've already mentioned the others. Tennis is kicked off. Kicked off last night, and then track starts Thursday, tomorrow. And then obviously soccer back on Friday. So every day is something.
Tuesday and Friday. So
Wednesday is podcast day. So,
we're trying. I mean, well, we're glad to have you, and thank you for making time for our Fanatics Frenzy folks. As always, like, subscribe, comment, tell us, the best things that we're doing. Right now, TikTok is really hot. So you about to go on TikTok now. So TikTok is like very, very popular. Everything is, very, very, crazy on TikTok right now.
So we'll have about 30 minutes on TikTok before they cancel it. I mean,
yeah. You do. You have like a few short time before they cancel TikTok. But
we can make a splash.
Hey, go out with a bang.
Yep.
So so today, we're gonna keep it like short and sweet, just because why not, next week we're probably on vacation, we might take some time off next week, but today we're gonna get into a little bit of the NFL drafts coming up in April. Okay, just something small to talk about, and then finally, the big game, Luka played Mavericks after he's been traded, it's a time to move on. And then, interestingly, this week, there was a story about Quinn Ewers.
Okay? And it kind of coincides with the draft because all that came out.
Right, because this week is Combine week. Yep. So, I guess it was the best time to come out. But the first thing we're going to talk about is the, draft projections. So ESPN came out yesterday, and I think it's Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
Yeah. Okay. So Mel Kiper came up with an NFL, draft projection.
Yep.
Okay. And the reason I want to talk about this is because he has Shedeur Sanders, quarterback for Colorado Bulldogs, at number 7 going to the Jets. But the reason I wanted to talk about is think about the Jets. Okay. I mean, he is. Most people saying he is the best quarterback in the draft. Okay, but according to Mel, Cam Ward is being picked before him. But you always talk about quarterbacks and situations and all that kind of stuff. So think about Shedeur going to the Jets. The Jets already have a very, very good defense. Sauce Gardner, a top corner, a good defensive tackle in Quinn Williams. Their offensive line a little shaky, but they drafted that kid last year who kind of got hurt, and he learned a little bit from Tyron Smith for the left tackle. But the receivers, they have Gary Wilson, Devontae Adams, and then Lazard is still there. Okay, so even though he won't be the first quarterback picked up in the draft, how sweet, or what do you think could be, his ceiling going to the Jets, a 7 who has a good defense and all those weapons, and Breece Hall, running back.
So a couple things. I'm going to start off. I'm going to kind of delay that answer.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about the draft and some of the things that they do.
Sure.
You talk about Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper's like the old dog. You know what I mean? Trying to teach him new tricks. It's just his evaluation. Sometimes he hits, sometimes he misses.
Okay.
A lot. If there's anybody out there that's a little bit older, my age, like 40s, late 30s, they grew up with the Kiper mock drafts, and that's kind of what started the mock drafts. And you had Todd McShay, and then you've got a lot of guys in there now that kind of do theirs for whether it's CBS Sports, whether it's Fox, whatever it is. So one thing you always have to look at is draft projection compared to what he calls his big board.
Okay.
Because the big board is really where he identifies who the best players are and kind of ranks them. And you'll see a lot of times that there's a player that's actually better, could be 3 spots ahead of somebody, that gets drafted later because of team needs, whether they need a corner, whether they need offensive line, whatever it is. So I don't get caught up too much in a lot of that because you've got some good players out there. You've got some that are, not in his big board. They're not ranked. They're, 5th, 6th round picks.
Right.
They may move up a little bit. They, get taken. They get into a good spot, or some, 6th round picks, aka Tom Brady, that develop into the greatest of all time. But what I think is, we talk a lot about fits with the team, with the culture, with the head coach, with, what they're trying to accomplish.
Right.
He's still going to be a rookie. So you're still going to have the growing pains. Now, I'll say this, you kind of saw Caleb Williams and what he went through.
Right.
Some ups and downs, had some flashes, and then had some, bad games.
Lots
some
of downs and ups. Yeah.
Some bad QBR numbers. And so I think Shedeur is, to the Jets, is a great spot for him.
100%.
It's, not only the city,
New York.
2 New York teams that don't even play in New York, but
it plays in Jersey, right?
They do, Buffalo's really the only New York team,
right?
That's just a side comment, but strong run game, strong defense. He's got a head coach,
Aaron Glenn,
who's defensively minded.
Right.
He's going to want to protect the football. He's going to want to run the clock. He's going to want to, have the defense force some turnovers to get his quarterback in the right positions.
Okay.
And I think it's a good fit.
Okay.
Do good fits always work out? No. But I think for Shedeur, the thing you don't want rookies to come in and do right away in year 1 and even year 2 is you're not going to be asking him to do what Jaden Daniels did.
Play hero ball.
Hero ball, win some games, come back in the fourth quarter. Can he do it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
He has the skill set. But what you really want is for him to be able to learn that offense behind a strong running game, behind a good defense, get him in some favorable, field position games where he's, not having to drive 80 yards, 90 yards, or even 70. You're going to want to force some turnovers back in their own end. You're going to want some punts where you're getting on the positive side of the 50 when you have the ball. So I think it's set up for him to really be successful, where in year 1 he's going to be kind of asked to protect the football, kind of a game manager. There's still going to be explosive plays out there because he does have a Garrett Wilson who's a number 1. I know there was talk about Adams, and he may ultimately not be on the roster. That was kind of early on in the discussion.
That's kind of died down now.
It has. They needed tight end. They had Conklin, which there's a couple of games that he did well.
The only reason you bring Conklin out is because he was in your fantasy team.
He was on my fantasy team for a minute, but he had like maybe 2 games where he caught more than 5 passes. It was normally like a 1 or 2 catch tight end, and that's something that they're going to need as another outlet. Obviously, they're going to have Breece Hall coming out of the backfield for check downs. They got the number 1. They got a solid 2, whatever you want to call him, 2.5. He's a little bit older. But again, good team around him. If they can tie up, that offensive line and have some of those guys develop in year 2 and, get some of those injuries, healed up, I think they're in position. I think they're to be honest with you, in better position than they were with Rodgers.
100%. I mean, and Olu Fashanu, that's the left tackle that I'm talking about. And he was an All-American in 2022. And they drafted him, I think, with the 10th or 11th pick, last year. So he just got hurt. But I don't know. I was watching a little bit of Colin Cowherd. And he kind of had the same idea about, because Shedeur was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in college football. He didn't have a great running game at all in the 2 years that he was at Colorado Buffalo. And this is This would be very, very interesting.
To go to the point about, Cam Ward being taken in front of him and how that looks, it's just a different skill set. It's just a different kind of mentality with two completely different organizations 100%. And what they want. I think the Jets are going to come out. Again, it's way early, but they're going to come out smelling like roses. I don't think Cam Ward is going to be that guy. You don't root against these guys because their college career's done. Doesn't matter where they went to school, if it was a rival school, whatever.
Not in the pros.
Yeah, they're in the pros. And from everything that I've watched, I think Shedeur throws more accurate ball. He throws a better deep ball. He's got more zip on it. Athletically, they're both athletic
pretty
quarterbacks.
Much the same. Yeah,
but I like that fit.
Okay,
and I think the Jets are gonna be the ones that. Not gonna say they're gonna go to the Super Bowl. Not gonna say they make the playoffs, but they have a pretty good shot if he can manage the offense in year one, and then. You get into 2 and 3 and really develop because they're still overall, got some young guys on the roster.
Yeah.
They can all develop together and get used to each other, year 2 and even year 3.
Man.
Yeah. You could be talking about a very strong playoff team.
And especially when the division is also kind of it's a one-horse race in the division right now. Yep. So, great. So, the next thing we're going to get into is, yesterday, as we were shooting, the big game, Luka Doncic finally plays against Dallas Mavericks, and even he hits a couple big threes, looks at the Mavs bench and screams at them, and apparently, a timeout, they were the Los Angeles fans was screaming, "Thank you, Nico, for trading basically Luka to them." And he had a good game. He had 19 points, 12 assists, 15 rebounds, a triple-double. Yep. They won the game 107-99. I watched the game, and I think if we had our bigs, it would have been, because this is just an 8-point game. Yeah. If we had our bigs, I think Mavericks actually win the game.
Yeah.
And now that the emotions are out and all of that, I kind of see what Nico was trying to do, because I think maybe overall, the Mavericks have a better roster now, maybe, but maybe it's not the right time to get into. Maybe some wounds have not healed yet. But is it time for everybody to move on now, to heal and move on? Because, he played the game, he had a great game, a good game, But is it time to move on?
It's time to move on because there's no coming back, from it. Now, there's a lot of things here kind of just swirling around this decision because they were talking about the Lakers and talking about Luka and whether or not he signs that extension, that's coming up, because there's talk where there's some doubt there.
Also in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Wow, yes. I didn't know that part.
Yeah. I've been following a little bit of some of the other guys out there. You mentioned Colin Cowherd. They were talking about Stephen A. None of this works if he doesn't sign it. I don't see him not signing it. I'll put it that way. But even with a little bit of the doubt out there, that kind of creeps into the minds of if you're a Lakers fan. Which I'll never be a Lakers fan, but I'll obviously be a Luka fan, so I want them to win wherever he's at. The thing about this whole situation, you saw clips of Luka out there doing push-ups, and there was a great picture. The photographer deserves a ton of credit where he's looking and and he's looking at Nico. Nico's looking back.
Is that picture real though?
It's real. Yeah, it's real. Do I really think that? I'll put it this way. I did not think Luka was going to come out and destroy the Mavericks in this game because it's still too early. It's still too early. The Mavericks are not full strength. The Lakers are still figuring everything out and how it works with Luka. For him to go in and have a triple-double, also had, for no defense, had, 3 blocks, 2 steals. Yeah. So he did what he needed to do 100%. In order to kind of get over the hill. Now, what I will say is I think where you're going to really see a lot of the fire in the belly is when they play in Dallas.
Which is in April they do. Yes.
So that game is really going to be the tell because Mavericks are going to have guys back. You're going to see kind of both rosters. And the Lakers are not done.
No.
That's the thing. Everybody's... Even if the Mavericks do win that game, for the long term, it's not going to be anything relative to what we're going to see probably if, let's say Luka does go ahead and sign the extension, which, again, I think he will. It's just out there that, there's some doubt depending on who the Lakers go get. But if they get their pieces... It's going to be they're going to be competing against each other, late in I would say next year because again, Lakers are going to make a run, but there's still better rosters out there.
And then they might be able to pick a center next year, and then hopefully AD is good, and hopefully Kyrie also picks up his extension or gets a new contract this offseason.
What I'll say is the Mavericks. With a roster, the question is, are they better with this scenario minus Luka? If they have the bigs, if they are playing, big ball and all of that. You can't compare the two because it's two completely different teams.
It is, but so I'm not saying they necessarily are, but Kyrie has been playing out of his mind. And Kyrie first option I didn't think will work, but it's working. But now Kyrie, because here's the thing. I was following a little bit today, and between Kyrie and Luka, they don't. The two of them just don't play good defense. They don't play good defense. Right. But now, if AD is back and healthy, AD is probably the best defender in the league. Okay. When he played against, I think OKC, you could just see he was just bullying them, who they were playing against before he got hurt.
Yeah.
But so Kyrie back, I think we have better, supporting cast. PJ Clay yesterday was crazy in the fourth quarter. Derek Lively plays in the center and then push AD to the 4. Gafford coming in.
I'm not saying it's not a good team.
Right.
That's not. I'm not trying to say. The point is going to be, you're going to have Kyrie, who's going to be running the show. He's again still playing great basketball. He's going to be getting a little bit older here in the next year or two, and obviously beyond that. So the Mavericks are on they have a smaller window.
Oh, they do 100%.
Than the Lakers, and I think that's the point of all this because. If the Mavericks don't go out
and win in
the next
2 years,
then the chirping is going to start because that's why they did this. Now they say we did this for now and for the future, which they do have some young talent on the team. I'm not, you don't question that part of it, but right now as they're constructed, you mentioned, you got Kyrie, you got Clay, you got AD, you got these guys that are a little bit older. So are they going to make more moves? Absolutely. They're going to have to. But so are the Lakers, and they're young outside of LeBron, and Reeves right now playing good basketball. And I was reading since they made this trade that the Lakers are top 3 defensively in the league.
Yeah.
So that's definitely not Luka.
No.
But if he pitches in at all, again, they're going to make moves as well. They're going to get better. And I think when you look at the two teams, it's hard to project what the Lakers are going to do, who they're going to bring in.
Yeah.
So time will tell on them. I think their longevity, especially since you got Luka at 25 years old.
Oh yeah, that's
the biggest key to all of this. One's trying to win right now for the next 1-2 years,
and one has
a chance to really bring in a couple pieces and be there for the long haul. Because LeBron's going to be, getting. See how many more years he plays. I mean, I'm sure with Luka there,
maybe 2.
Maybe if he can be more off the ball, which everybody said he couldn't work off the ball,
and he did.
He's doing that.
Yep.
You're not going to see the Luka, 5 straight 40-point game Luka.
No.
It's going to be a different Luka. So,
maybe a more efficient.
This is what kills me with when everybody starts talking about comparing Michael Jordan and LeBron.
10 of the AC, 10 the AC down,
because everybody gets into the stat game. You know what I mean? If Luka goes out and let's say he wins 3 championships over the next 5 years, right? But he's averaging 21 points.
Right.
Are they going to say it's a bad trade?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Are they going to say Luka's washed up and it didn't work out?
No.
No. They're going to say, he's not scoring like he had to in Dallas to get them there, and that's going to be, that's going to be the truth. It's all about the supporting cast we can put around them. So the stats, there's some that are important, some absolutely kill me. Again, the fact he had a triple double, that's what I'm looking at because that's bringing everything together, not just, if he just scored 40 points last night and had 2 assists,
right.
Everybody would have probably a bigger reaction. Oh, Luka destroyed the Mavericks.
That's true.
That's true. I like the triple-double more than I do him going for 40 and then winning. So
because he was more efficient. Yeah. Okay.
So, yes, it's to answer your questions, it's time to move on for both teams. It's done. Is it? It's still going to be painful. It's you're still going to have to see Luka in a Lakers jersey, and when he comes to Dallas in April. I think they're also. I saw pictures of him. It's the fastest person probably ever to lose 30 pounds.
Ozempic
Luka, because he's shredding it pretty quick. And again, he had the calf thing. He's not going to be doing as much.
So reports that actually came out today is Mavericks were worried about him drinking and smoking hookah.
Because of what it could lead to, and here's the thing too. Luka is not an American athlete.
No,
he's an international. Look at all of the guys that play in the English Premier League, that play in Europe, and all that. Right? You see that they're not. They are world class athletes, but they're not. They don't have the best diet. They work hard, they practice, they do what they need to do, but it's a different mindset.
Right.
So it's just whether they liked it or not, I can understand that thought process and what you think of a world-class athlete, but look, man, Michael Jordan was going and playing 2 rounds of golf, drinking a case of Miller Lite and then going and dropping 40. There are so many of those stories out there. Do I recommend that? Absolutely not.
No.
But there's some players that
just can't
go beyond that, and Luka is one of them. And to bring up all of that as he's been doing it for what? How many years already?
6, 7 years maybe.
So I think that ends the discussion.
He's been a professional since he was 18, but so that got you a little fired up.
It did because it's just say the guy isn't what you wanted for the future.
Listen,
you don't have to bash somebody.
Esk's back.
Yeah, because then you're going to have to bring in all the other athletes, man, that all the stories out there of those guys, sitting at the poker table till 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning and, gambling. I'm going to put $100 on the game. And then the guy goes out and, scores 50 points. So for a normal person like you and me, absolutely. Yeah. If we're drinking and smoking all the time, we're not going to go get 20 points in a game, but.
Oh man. So if this got you that worked out, and this last, this last one is gonna get you, go over.
It's not because it's you talk about moving on. This one's also kind of time now that we're in the draft.
Let me introduce that. So coming from the draft, or the stories coming out is Quinn Ewers, quarterback for the Texas Longhorns, got a lot of heat this year, and everybody, you have a famous couch, quarterbacks and couch coaches that sit on their couches and criticize this kid. And it came out this yesterday or this week that Quinn Ewers actually played the entire 2024 season, that he took his team to the semifinal of the national, college football league, or one game away from the national championship game. He played the entire season with a torn oblique.
Yeah.
And you have been somebody that have 100% supported him this entire, season, and have been really, very upset. Got in a few arguments on Facebook and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And just to add up, even though he played with a torn oblique, he had, 3,472 yards, 31 TDs, 12 interceptions.
He's top 3 in every category in Texas.
Right.
Their program history.
Right.
Think about the quarterback, some of the good quarterbacks that have come through there.
Young, all of that, So, how does this make you feel, and what you got for the people that has criticized this kid this entire season and, to show his true character that, he could have stayed out.
Yep.
And yesterday, Mom made a point about imagine trying to run or throw a ball with a torn oblique.
Yeah.
Not a bruise, a torn oblique.
Yeah.
Talk to me, SK.
So everybody looks at it from their own fan point of view, from their own opposing school point of view, and then you have the other guys that are Arch Manning lovers that are, this is why Arch should have been starting. And look, if the coach who is there at every practice, every single day, when all we see is 3 hours on a Saturday.
That's true.
If he says this quarterback gives us the best chance to win because he knows the offense better, he can run it more efficiently, even if he's hurt, I have to respect that. I have to respect the head coach who now has been to back-to-back, semifinals, who's got the program from, a 6-game losing streak in his first season when we were coming off of all those 6 and 7 seasons just in the gutter, now to prominence and
probably the best team in the SEC now.
Yeah. Yep. And all those people who are on the Arch Manning bus, and again, I have no problem with Arch Manning. I think he's going to be a great quarterback.
Right.
I just, again, don't think he was ready for that environment first year in the SEC. Coming against some good teams, good quality teams on the road. Going into the playoff when Quinn had that experience. And if he wasn't able to perform, he wouldn't have played. He's sat games before. So there are two things that I look at and I think, could normal people do this? First thing is playing through an injury like that.
Right.
Against Arizona State when he and I think against Ohio State when he ran the ball into the end zone.
Yeah.
Arizona State. When he's making those dives and he's making those extra runs, that's painful.
Oh yeah.
And he's still doing it, and then people question his heart and question that, he doesn't look like he likes to play football. He doesn't look like he loves the university. When the kid is barely able to move, I started going back and looking at some highlights of older games, and it's a noticeable difference from the UTSA game. Prior to that, even last year, there is a noticeable drop off in willingness to run, mobility, which a lot of people question his mobility and being able to get out of the pocket. There is a restriction there, okay? And that's when people start coming out and saying, see, this is why. If you knew it was like this, Arch Manning should have been playing more and all that. No, because they're, number one, Sark's offense is, we went over this a few episodes ago. It's not a running quarterback system.
No.
And it's about quick release, and it's about diagnosing the defense and getting the ball out, quick, and it's identifying the option. He could still do that, and regardless of what people say, again, that are on their couches or against them or whatever, he did it at a pretty high level to get him, into the draft. They don't just allow all quarterbacks, who are seniors to go into the draft.
Right. There's an invite.
There's an invite.
Yeah.
And I think what you're going to find out is when he's healthy and he goes, he's doing the combine and, even post-combine, he's going to surprise some teams because it's a tough thing. Everybody says, I could play through injury. I could do this. Playing football with a torn oblique, and not only that, compound it with the high ankle sprain, and to still go out there and do that, it's the most disrespect you could say is that he doesn't care. He doesn't love his university. He doesn't care about his teammates. 200% the opposite. He wanted to,
put his
give
body
everything.
on the line.
Yep. So, I think you're going to see a lot of good chatter, from a lot of these NFL coaches when he is fully healthy and he is able to move. Again, I'm not here saying that it was perfect all season.
That's true.
But what I'm saying is you have a coach who knows a lot more football than anybody around the program, outside of his coaching staff, who has said, we've watched these two quarterbacks battle for 2 years, and he still gives us the best chance to win. There's something there.
Right.
He has a better grasp of the offense. He knows his options. He knows this. He knows that. There are things that are not being said that shouldn't be. That shouldn't be made public. That's kept in-house. And then when Arch Manning comes out and says, hey, I've not enjoyed sitting, but I've been able to be in a good position. His dad comes out and, talks about it on a couple of shows. I think the Rich Eisen show. He comes out and says, did he love to sit? No, but was it better for him in the long run?
Yep.
Yes. Because I don't know if you heard this, but in the Ohio State game, everybody was complaining they didn't run the ball more with him in the red zone. That first hit he took, he got hit. Watch him. He stands up. He stumbles backwards, and the rumor is that he was concussed, and they didn't, announce it. So he wasn't going back in. So that kind of shuts everybody up as well. There's just too much effort and too much heart from him to get the disrespect, and I'm glad he's moved on, and kind of like the Luka thing. Time to move on. It's Arch's show. Good luck to Quinn, but that does suck that he
had to go through that.
Because your body's hurting, you're physically hurt, and then everybody's bashing you.
Yep.
That when all you're doing is trying to win a freaking national championship.
Oh God, we miss football. We miss college football, man.
Yep.
Can't wait for September, October to be back, and we're gonna enjoy the off season for sure. We're gonna get into different stuff, but it's good to also have you back. And I think we gotta end it here, man. We gotta end it on that banging. You just that breath you just took.
Yeah. Well, just real quick on the coaching side of it. So one thing we've been talking about is doing a coaching episode.
Yeah.
And I plan to do that pretty soon where we're just going to talk about youth sports, youth coaches, not just youth coaches, high school coaches, what they have to deal with, the challenges, not only dealing with the players, but the parents. And I think it'll be something that people want to see.
Yeah. So. We're looking forward to that. So we'll put that together, and then, we'll bring it up here very soon. But thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. Go to the TikTok, go to Instagram, go on Apple Podcasts, go everywhere. Go check it out. Go listen. Send it to your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your friends, your cousins, your aunties, and everybody. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.